Today, we're going to talk about how to build a business. We're going to break down the universal roadmap that turns a simple idea into a real thriving company. It's the essential journey every single founder has to take. So let me ask you a question. What could a chocolate factory, a car company, and an airline possibly have in common? I mean, really think about it. One makes candy, one builds these incredibly complex machines, and the other one flies you across the world. What's the thread that ties them all together? Well, it turns out they're all playing by the same rulebook. Underneath it all, they follow the exact same fundamental roadmap to get from point A to point B. It's a founder's journey they all share, and we're going to walk through it step by step. Okay, first things first. Before you can build anything, before you can even think about hiring people or making money, you have to answer the biggest question of all. What are we actually going to make? You know, in the old days, a lot of businesses were what we'd call product-oriented. They just build something they thought was cool and then, hope people would buy it. It was a huge gamble. But today, the most successful businesses are market-oriented. They do their homework first. So what does that actually mean? Well, instead of just guessing, a market-oriented business starts with you, the customer. They find a need, a desire, a problem that needs solving, and then they design the product to fit that need perfectly. It just makes so much more sense, and it dramatically boosts your chances of success. All right, so you figured out what you're making. Awesome. The next giant step is figuring out how you're going to make it. And trust me, this is a puzzle all on its own. This is what we call production. It's really the engine room of any business. It's the process of actually transforming things, turning raw materials and labor into something valuable that people actually want to buy. And this idea is everywhere. For that chocolate factory, production is mixing cocoa and milk. For the car company, it's putting together thousands of different parts. And for an airline, believe it or not, production is organizing the plane, the crew, and the catering to deliver a service. It's all production. And this all boils down to two huge questions that every business has to answer. One, who do we need on our team? And two, what tools and machines do they need to get the job done? Getting these two things right is absolutely fundamental. Okay, so you've got a great product that people want, and you've got a solid plan to make it. But how do you know if you're actually winning? Well, that's where the money equation comes in. The whole financial side of things can be broken down into three really simple steps. First, you earn money. Second, you pay for everything it took to earn that money. And third, whatever's left over, that's yours. That's the goal. The first step is what we call sales revenue. This is the big, flashy number, the total amount of cash you bring in from sales. The math is easy. It's just the number of things you sold multiplied by the price you sold them for. But, of course, you don't get to keep all of that. Next, you have to subtract your costs. And this is all the money that went out the door to make your product. We're talking raw materials, employee salaries, rent, marketing, everything. And what you're left with after all that, that's the magic number. That's profit. This is the true measure of success. If your revenue is bigger than your costs, you're in good shape. If it's the other way around, well, you've got a problem. So if profit is the name of the game, how do you get more of it? This brings us into the world of strategy, and specifically, how you play the pricing game. This is the question, isn't it? It's what keeps every business owner up at night. How do we get more revenue? How do we grow? Now, it might sound a little weird, but you basically have two main levers you can pull with your price. You can either raise it or you can lower it. The real trick is knowing which one to pull and when. And the right move really depends on your situation. Look, if you sell something that's totally unique or essential and you don't have a lot of competition, you can probably raise your prices and people will still buy. But if you're in a crowded, competitive market, lowering your price can be a super powerful way to steal customers from your rivals. But at the end of the day, whether you're raising prices or lowering them, the goal is exactly the same. Push that revenue line up and to the right. The goal is always growth. So, after all of this, what's the one big secret? What's the one thing that ties this entire journey together? It really all comes down to one simple, powerful word: profit. A business is successful when it can solve a customer's problem in a way that makes more money than it spends. That's it. This is the unbreakable law of business. It's the simple definition we just talked about, but it's the rule that governs everything. You have to bring in more than you send out. Period. That's the bottom line.
Which leads me to one last kind of mind-blowing question. We started by saying that modern businesses make what we want. So in a system like that, who's really in charge? Who's actually deciding what gets invented, built, and sold next?
The answer is you. You do. Every single time you buy something, you are casting a vote. You're sending a signal to businesses, telling them what you value and what you want more of. In this massive world of productivity, the customer isn't just king. You're the architect of whatever comes next.